We have all heard of serial killers. Although we know some of the things that motivates them and some of the things that they lack specifically that makes them want to kill the people that they do, we have these so-called myths that create a serial killer stereotype, if you will. Some of these myths being untrue and that a lot of people are unaware of, that these myths and predispositions and facts allow scientists to define what a serial killer truly is compared to the stereotype that people have about them. Some of these myths particularly are that not all serial killers are white males. There are many famous case studies and particular serial killers that scientists have found and studied specifically, and one of these is Nanny Doss that killed. She was a nanny, and she killed 13 or so, maybe more if scientists have not found what they found, victims. And specifically, another myth is that not all serial killers once tortured animals or were abused as child. It's just particularly pertaining to the person that makes them the way they are, that makes them want to be a serial killer or that turns them into one. And all have their own motivations. Not all are motivated by sex. And that's something that a lot of people specifically don't understand. And the things that they lack, like empathy specifically, where they just don't care at all and they go off and kill other people. Some of the predispositions to make what we have as myths, the things that we've learned through time, make us more prone to believing, I guess, the myths, because one of them specifically, infamous serial killers that we've learned are white males. For example, Ted Bundy, and even case studies that we have no idea, like Jack the Ripper. We have no idea, even though there's some plain evidence in his case that makes us want to believe that he was a white male. We are unsure. It could have been anybody, and these myths and predispositions make us want to believe that that particular serial killer and murder case was a white male. And not only just case studies make us want to believe that certain things happened that could or could not have happened, is that we're taught to fear strangers as children. We're taught to stay away from the unknown and make sure that we're safe, because we teach our children not to talk to strangers, not to get into a stranger's car, not to take any offers from other people, because we don't know if there's anything in them. And that's something that our society has gotten more worried about through time because of past situations. And maybe not just the myths, but things that have particularly happened that make us fear others. And maybe not just the things that have been taught, but through genetics, we as people want to survive. And that in particularly is really important. And leads us to kind of the facts of why serial killers do what they do specifically, and what kind of people and how they're actually defined. There are different types of serial killers being discovered, and that's what makes it so hard to define them every day. A particular one I think about are the medical care serial killers that not a lot of people know about, that kill their patients. These are doctors, nurses, and a lot of people, they do it, they are motivated for it for a variety of reasons, because specifically just depends on who they are again. And not a lot of people know that these people that kill their patients are mainly female, by statistics that scientists have found. Another particular one, a type of serial killer, is one that kills because they are depressed and they have had abusive mothers specifically. And these again are mainly females. They are not white males in the kind of predisposition that we want to believe. And then another type of serial killer is a random serial killer, and a good example of this is the Zodiac killer, the famous Zodiac killer, that it was just random. Scientists could not pinpoint why he did what he did. And these are just a couple of serial killers. There's more of them being learned about every day, and scientists don't quite understand. And that's what we're trying to learn. And like, we've learned that through different motivations and lack of empathy, that these are the causes that make serial killers want to kill other people. One of the motivations, particularly, yes, is sex. Not all serial killers are motivated by sex. Some are motivated by power, and some are motivated specifically on control, because for them, maybe they're somewhat of a control freak, and killing is the only way they can control things or emotions around them in life situations that makes them able to control their own emotions and their own actions. And it's because specifically of these reasons that there are more and more serial killers found out about every day, and the motivations and what they lack that makes them become the way they are, or makes them born the way they are, that serial killer as a term in general has become more and more difficult to define. People overall are always misinterpreting and judging, so it is not surprising that serial killers have their own stereotype that society has built up over time from these myths and predispositions. And now we're able to find the facts. We're able to find all these things that we weren't able to find through different forensics studies and different scientists and new technology. That we're able to see that there are different qualities between a different person that make us kind of more or less scared and more or less open-minded depending on the situation. But what we as people and we as a society have to remember that serial killers are different, and it's scary, and not all of them look the same, so they can look like anybody else, and that's scary because we won't know before it's too late.